What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Boxing Therapy. I'm your host, Lyndon Jones Jr. And I just got down watching Joseph Parker versus Hughie Fury on pay-per-view, aka on YouTube, for about $25. I could have went to some third-party site and watched it for free, but I'm trying to help the sport. I'm trying to get back to the sport because I love boxing. Die-hard boxing. I'm a die-hard boxing fan. Anyway, let's get to this fight. Basically, the fight was what I thought. Well, I didn't know because I never really watched a fight with Hughie Fury, but his style is very similar to his cousin of Tyson Fury. He stays on the back foot. He stayed on the back foot the whole fight, throwing the jab, waiting for Parker to come in and get. He was landing counter punch uppercuts, and he was landing very nice counter straight rights too on Parker, but in my opinion, from what I saw, that he didn't do enough to beat Parker in this fight because the judges, they scored the fight 114-114. That was the first judge. The next two judges scored it 118-110. Okay, that 118-110 just seemed to be sticking around. Was Adelaide Bird scoring this fight too? No, it's not even the same fight. Anyway, so Joseph Parker retains his WBO title. I don't know. Some people might say that they need a rematch from this because, let's see, I want to say from maybe round. It's pretty much every round. Fury was on the back foot. He was staying on the outside. He was just throwing that jab. He was throwing the jab, landing the counter. And then Parker was coming in, landing some decent body shots. He would come upstairs, land a good left hook. Not left hook, good right hook sometimes. Parker was a little bit sloppy. And, he's come because that's what exactly Hughie Fury was waiting for Parker to come in so he could counter him. And that was basically just the fight. Parker came in. He was the much more aggressor. In the eyes of the judges, I believe the judges like that aggressiveness from Parker versus Fury's just being on the back foot, throwing that little shoe shine jab. Because the jab really wasn't doing much. It's his counter power punches he was landing that was really doing any type of damage, which he didn't really do enough because he had to wait for Parker to initiate to do that every time. Because Hughie was never coming forward. Maybe I can't remember what round. It was like maybe 7 or the 8th round that he did come forward for a moment where he had turned around Parker. He had Parker on the ropes, but soon the ref come in because that was what Fury would do. When Parker come in, Hughie would throw his punches, try to land his counter real quick, and grab and hold and wait for the ref to come over and break him up. And that was the whole fight. That was the whole fight basically. And I think that Parker's aggressiveness won this fight overall, and Fury just didn't do enough to impress the judges, and I think that's how it went down and why they scored it the way they did. So, should we look at a rematch for this? I could possibly see a rematch because some people might be that pissed off where they might call for a rematch, but that's really up to the WBO to really sanction this fight again. You just have to see how the ratings did. If the ratings did good enough, I think they might have a rematch because I think the fight might deserve a rematch a little bit because, people view Joseph Parker as the lowest heavyweight on the totem pole as far as who has all the who has all the belts between Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, and because Anthony Joshua's got 2 belts. He's got the IBF and the WBA. That's right, because he's got those 2 belts after he beat Vladimir Klitschko. So, I don't know, because it was showing, you were kind of seeing more of what Joseph Parker was in this fight and what he really is, and maybe what he lacks a little bit, because you could see when he couldn't close the distance, he had to sell out and come in and throw those punches. And I see he would have trouble with maybe a fighter like Deontay Wilder. I think he'd have trouble with Joshua because just the size difference between the two, because I believe Joshua would just basically overpower him with his size because there is a distinct size because Anthony Joshua's just big as fuck compared to the other heavyweights. But that's who do I thought won? I want to say I thought Joseph Parker won just off the sheer aggressiveness, and he just put in more work than Fury, in my opinion. Fury looked good, and I see more fights coming for him, but he just didn't quite do enough to swing the judges, because he didn't really ever try to come initiate and come forward and show his aggressiveness. He was on the back foot the whole fight, and that's all he just threw the jab, a couple of counters here and there, and that was basically his game plan. And I tell you what, if the fight went 20 rounds, it could have turned out different. But 12-round fight, he was. I'd say Fury was well conditioned. He didn't ever seem like he was tired. Parker seemed a little bit tired at times. He seemed like Parker seemed like he had to sell out a few rounds, because Parker didn't come in with no type of jab. He just came in, just throwing a hook in and then just tried to land combinations. He didn't really follow up, because he was just basically pushing himself in, pushing the pressure on Fury, basically. So, if you guys saw the fight, tell me what you guys thought. Tell me who you thought won. Leave it in the comments below. Tell me who you thought won. In my opinion, do they deserve a rematch? Should Parker just move on? Should he just fight somebody else now? Because I hear Dillian White's calling him out now. But what has Dillian White really done? I mean, he hasn't really done anything of significance yet. But yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it very much. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to Boxing Therapy. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Peace.